Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any public comments on non-agendized items? Saying none. Moving on to item number 3. Any corrections to the agenda or consent calendar? Okay, moving on to item 4, adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And the motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. Moving on, there's no consent items brought forward. Moving on to item 6A, Certified Special District Manager Award. Dane Waddle.
Trying to press anything here. We're good? Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, board members, staff. Dane Wadley. I am the Director of Field Operations for the State California Special Districts Association. So pleased to be here today on behalf of the Special District Leadership Foundation. I said CSDA. I'm with CSDA, but I'm here on behalf of the Leadership Foundation, so if I get that right, to present one of the awards to Chris Skelly. And so I'd like to just go through a little bit about the award, and then we'll kind of do the presentation. We've got the nice plaque here for Chris to award him with. But the Leadership Foundation, just a little bit of background about that, is a foundation arm of CSDA and dedicated to promoting best management practices and good governance in special districts. We do that through a few ways. One of them, the district's familiar with the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence, which you've earned in the past. We appreciate that. But then also, too, there's some certificates for individuals, one of them being our Certified Special District Manager certification, which the General Manager also has as well. So this is the second time for a district, and we're happy to be presenting this. The certification, so how do you earn it, right, is a question we get quite often, as you might imagine. And it's first of all, it's a voluntary designation, so we always like to highlight that, as this is obviously something that Chris decided to take on in addition to all his other responsibilities and personal life, so I appreciate him doing that. And to earn it, there's a 2-hour exam that Leadership Foundation, basically proctors for individuals who want to do it. There's like a study group that you can be a part of to actually prepare for it. And the exam itself covers all the key aspects of special district administration, so your governance, legal requirements, policy development, ethics, strategic planning, and finance as well. So, and I can tell you, I've been doing this for CSDA for about 10 years now. I've proctored a number of these exams, and even seasoned special district administrators will come out of that exam and they're kind of like, whew, that was a little tougher than I thought that it was going to be. So all that's just to say that it's a rigorous program. It's certainly a rigorous exam to earn this certificate. So certainly something that Chris should be commended on for his hard work in studying, preparing, and obviously passing the exam itself. And we'd like to highlight just also too why this is so important. Obviously, it demonstrates Chris's commitment to his profession and to special districts. I also like to just highlight on a broader level as well, because as you guys are aware, you guys helped us out on a number of advocacy things that we do in Sacramento and in DC. But when we're in those arenas, legislators and other folks sometimes aren't always familiar with special districts, and all they know is that there's a lot of them and there's a lot of people, and are they doing what they're supposed to and following laws and doing best management practices and all that stuff. And when we have individuals like Paul and Chris who go through our programs, and of course you guys at the district too with the transparency cert, it helps us to advocate. It's much easier for us to advocate on your behalf because we can point to these things and say, yes, individuals and districts are going to the next level to do that. So I just wanted to make that connection with one of the broader missions of CSDA. Last thing I'll highlight here real quick, if you don't mind, is just to give you some statistics on the program itself. So again, there's roughly 2,000 special districts, independent special districts in the state of California. There's 83 individuals who have this certification. So it's a pretty exclusive group. In our Sierra network, which is the territory that I cover for CSDA, which is basically Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, East, Gold Country, obviously up here, there's 14. So you have 2 of them, 2 active ones right now. So definitely something that we're very proud of for Chris and him taking on the, like I said, the voluntary assignment of doing so, and congratulations to him, and obviously you guys too supporting him doing so, and the general manager. So with that, I will stop talking other than to just formally bring Chris up and officially congratulate him on behalf of the Special District Leadership Foundation for earning the Certified Special District Manager certification.
There?
We're going to ruin it a little bit.
Congratulations. Good job. I know. I don't think we should either.
No, I'm just messing with them now, right? They won't know this is a photo bomb.
Photo bomb.
No, you gotta take another one. I messed that up. Really, take another one. I was giving thumbs up in the background. I don't want to be that guy.
Chris, did you want to say any words, or?
I think you covered it. I just want to thank the district. They've always been supportive of my training efforts and certification efforts. So thank you all for, investing in me so I can give back to the community that we serve.
Awesome.
Great job, Chris.
I just do want to follow this a little bit here. This really is a big deal. I mean, because it just definitely demonstrates the broad range of knowledge about everything special districts that Chris has gained for his many years here at the district now. And because some people might think, well, Chris is IT manager, and so your image of him might be, sitting in a dark office in front of a keyboard 24 hours a day. But this shows that he knows a lot more than just IT, and we benefit from that.
I got to share a quick anecdote about Chris. Chris came into my early morning discussions with my wife earlier this week, and that's why I got to share this story. My wife woke me up preposterously early to shake me up and say, have you seen this story on 60 Minutes about the hacking of the water sewer companies? Really early in the morning, I rolled over. I'm like, it's cool. Chris has got it.
Yeah.
And so that literally happened like just a few days ago. I watched the story later, but it got me another hour and a half of sleep, so greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Dane.
Thank you, Dane. Sorry for mispronouncing your last name. Maybe they misspelled it on the agenda. No? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, moving on to item 6D. This is me, I guess. Award Government Finance Officer Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Finance Reporting. And here I have a letter to read from them. This is from the Government Finance Officers Association. It says, Dear Shane, we are pleased to notify you that your annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 qualifies for the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Finance Reporting. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in government accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. When a Certificate of Achievement is awarded to a government, an award of financial reporting achievement, AFRA, is also presented to the individuals or department designated by the government as primary responsible for its having earned the certificate. The award has been sent to the submitter as designated on the application. So congratulations, team, another award.
Now they all have to come up.
More pictures. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Is there any plaques on it? Come on. Congratulations, Steve. All righty. Sorry for my hiccups on that read. It's like font size 3 or something. All right, we're moving on to item 7A, capital outlay rollover accounts. Greg.
Good afternoon. Greg Dupree, Accounting Manager, here to talk about the 24-25 fiscal year to 25-26 fiscal year capital outlay rollover accounts. So each year, budgeted funds that were not fully expended on planned or active capital projects are needed to complete the projects in the new fiscal year. Everybody follow that? Yeah. These funds are then transferred or rolled over from the old budget to the new budget in the current year. So there is an attached list. I want to give plenty of time for comment, discussion, questions.
I just have a couple of comments quickly. Typically, this agenda item has come forward like the end of August time period, but after our lengthy discussions last year during some of our budget meetings regarding these rollovers and how they were growing, Greg worked very closely with multiple departments and spent a lot of time really cleaning this stuff up to ensure that the only dollars being rolled forward were dollars that are going to be spent this fiscal year. And so that's why it's coming later this year than normal.
That's a great response, I think, to the conversation.
Yeah.
Because I always had that question of, rollover, when do we start budgeting and aligning that with our delivery cadence? Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty sizable number still if you look at both accounts. And it's like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to do if you add that to the base budget as well. So, yeah, let's keep honing that down and factoring it into our budget conversations.
Yeah, just a quick question. I see some pretty large ticket items here. So this means that those dollars as line items here will go to those particular projects, or are those just where that money's coming from?
It's where it's coming from.
Okay.
So on a few of the large ones, I did make some notes, like I think the Herbert walk-up is a large one. That's rolling to fund a separate project, the DJOURNMENT water line project.
Okay. And so will these rollovers, will that be part of our CIP conversation, budget conversation? So we'll basically start to see how these things move from one place to the next? Yeah. Okay, great.
If I could add one thing as well, I know Nick, we talked about the base budget, which essentially would be the new fiscal year 26.
Yeah.
So as part of this process, we worked with engineering, and they also looked at what they had budgeted in 25, 26, and made some adjustments to that as well when we're looking at what we're going to roll over versus what was already there to make sure that that was feasible.
Good. Yeah, merge those two. Great. Yeah, thank you for that.
I'll hold on my discussion until we get to the budget workshops. And just if you could, just refresh kind of timeline on when those are coming, Paul, for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, we were actually talking a little bit about that this morning, and I'm anticipating probably the first CIP workshop, February. The actual budget workshop probably won't be until, typically it's been towards the end of March, and we still may hold that same time or early April, but I'd kind of like to get the first CIP one done in February because there could be more than one, maybe.
Any more comments from the board or questions from the board? Seeing none, are there any comments from the public? All right, seeing none, what action would you like us to consider?
To authorize staff to direct rollover funds budgeted in 2024-2025 fiscal year to the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item 7B, the 2025 test well project. Mark Silos.
Good afternoon, Mark Silos, Water Resources Manager. This is the second and final change order for the 2025 test wells project. And after some breath holding, I can now confidently say that this project was a success. We have a well at Tanglewood. We got the data back. We don't have our final report yet, but it's looking like that'll be like a 1,600 GPM plus well with excellent water quality that won't require treatment. And so, yeah, happy about that. So this change order just it covers some of the remaining additional expenses that we incurred due to the deepening of Tanglewood well that were not known at the time that I brought change order 1 to you. And so specifically, it's just the additional development time where they basically clean out the well, additional pump support time for the well testing, and then waste disposal. And so the development time and pump support time were both paid out at unit cost per the bid. And then the waste disposal, we negotiated with the contractor to pay their cost plus 10%, which is much less than we would have paid if we would have paid them unit cost. And so this change order will add $97,570.09 for a total contract cost of $1.34 million. The original contract that included wells at 2 locations, but much shallower, was for $1.48 million, so we're still well within budget on that contract. And so happy to answer any questions before reading the action.
Yeah, I guess I was having difficulty tracking your staff summary a little bit on terms of the Cattleman's site versus this site, and that we had to basically stop because we hit hard rock. Yeah. So there's some money savings on that front?
Yeah, so we had already done like a large deductive change order to account for stopping work at Cattleman's, and now we're adding the remaining work for Tanglewood. So, yeah.
No, just a quick question. How do you know when to call it quits?
Yeah,
like why 220, not 180, and not like a kind of a criticism, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, with the drilling?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. So at Tanglewood, we got past our 500 feet that we were drilling, and we kept seeing really good productive aquifer material, and so we had them keep drilling. And then we hit clay, and we're like, maybe it'll go away, maybe it'll go away, maybe it'll go away. After 200 feet, we're like, all right, it's not going away. We didn't hit bedrock, so we called it off then. And then, yeah, Cattleman's was a no-brainer because we hit rock really quick. So, yeah.
Any other comments, questions from the board, or any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, what action would you like us to consider?
Approve final change order number 2 for Greg Drilling, Inc. in the amount of $97,570.09, and authorize the general manager to execute change order number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mark. All right, moving on to item 7C, BG1 Waterline Replacement Project. Laura.
Good afternoon, board members. Laura Hendrickson, Associate Engineer. I'm here today to talk about the BG1 Waterline Replacement Project. We wrapped up construction in December of last year, so just last month. The project replaced just over 7,100 feet of undersized steel water mains and added 22 new fire hydrants to both the Deer Park neighborhood and the Fremont neighborhood. This change order is essentially similar to a closeout change order. It reconciles the final quantities and contract time with the work that was actually completed by Vinciguerra Construction over the summer. It includes 26 items, mostly adjustments to unit price items, some removal of work that we didn't end up needing, and a small contract time extension. Overall, this change order results in a net deductive change of about $174,000. Previously in the project, we did have an additive change order for $105,000, so that still brings this project under budget for almost $70,000. Approval of this change order will finalize the contract quantities and time, and then the remaining bid schedules still need to be reconciled. I plan on doing that at the next board meeting. Are there any questions?
Is this the one we rode the coattails on to do the work around El Tahoe? Okay.
Yeah. So that final change order will be coming at the next board meeting.
Okay. Any other comments, questions from the board? Any comments?
I just wanted to say something real quick regarding this topic, because you may be wondering, why do we have on board action a negative change order? And we had some conversation about this over the last couple of weeks, and we talked about it with you during agenda review. But the language within the public contracting code, much of which goes all the way back to the 1930s, requires that all change orders for contracted projects come before the board, no matter what the change order is for. It could be a positive change order, a negative change order, or no dollar impact at all, just like a time change or something. And so that's just what the requirement is, and so that's why you see it on action.
This was great. Like, yeah, no, I was really happy to see that actually, right? Like, you know, as you're just looking at the agenda and then as you go through, you're like, reduction, okay, right? So, no, I'm glad to have it. I hope to see more of it, right? Yeah.
You know, I don't think so. Well, it can, but there's another requirement that they also require a 4/5 confirmation vote by the board. So say we only had 3 board members here on a particular day, this change order couldn't even be on the agenda. Action couldn't even be taken.
You can still take 4/5 votes on consent.
You can, but it might make it awkward if something has to come off or something. That's why we just put it in action.
Is there, just a curiosity, as you're closing this out, are there any other kind of check marks that are being made in terms of their performance and, you know, kind of evaluation of the contractor themselves, or is anything like that plays out?
I'm not sure if that specifically happens, but we do a whole closeout process. So we file the notice of completion with the county clerk. We contact all of their subcontractors, make sure they've gotten them paid, everything's taken care of in that respect. And then since this was an SRF loan funded project, we do a whole closeout narrative, a whole project closeout with that grant funder.
And with, I guess there's monies left over, does this go back to the SRF, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I think we'll do a final budget approval, and so then those change orders all get rolled into that. So the loan amount will reflect all of the change orders.
It'll drop, and we'll just give them that. Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's it. Is there any, I guess we still got to do the action, but is there any comments from the public? Seeing none, what would you like us to consider?
Approve change order number 3 to Vincegar Construction Incorporated in the amount of negative $173,651 and authorize the general manager to execute change order number 3.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Here we have a motion and a second. And the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Laura. All right, moving on to 7D, 2025 asphalt patching and trench paving service contract. Adrian.
Good afternoon, board members. I've got more good news for you here, a negative change order, although I feel like I've had a few positive increased change orders on this contract. So this is change order number 4. It's a balancing change order just to make the actual quantities for paving and all the other miscellaneous work that they did match up. There's a couple of miscellaneous items that we added for like minor concrete work. There was some striping done, and we also have a piece for adding some time to the contract to account for when it's going to be closed out. Any questions?
Is this a closeout change order?
It's
contract?
similar to, I mean, it's basically a closeout change order. This will be the final change order on this contract. We have a notice of completion with the county that's going to be the 30-day time period up at the end of the month, and then we'll have a closeout agreement, which we don't bring back to the board. So this will be the last of this project that you will hear at the board meetings.
Yes, and we'll move this right into our next agenda item after we get through this. But
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say is that going into this contract, we had a ton of patches out in the city and county, and I want to say the count was probably about 400 existing patches. And going into this next contract, we only have about 30 patches that are left over. So the county and the city have been very happy that we've caught up after years and years of not being up to date with our patch paving. Kudos to the contractor. Also, IT really helped us out with management of this by creating a program that we've called it Patch GPT. But it's been really awesome where the contractor is able to see where all the patches are. It really helped them plan their work. It helped us management. You know, last year was the beta version. It was incredible. We've seen a couple tweaks that we're making for the next year, but I definitely want to give my hat off to the IT department for helping.
Who came up with the name? Just curious.
The contractor.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, what would you like us to consider?
Approve change order number 4 in the amount of negative $105,441.37 to Alcorn General Engineering. And 2, authorize the general manager to execute change order number 4.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Adrian, and welcome back to the podium, Adrian, for item 7E.
Thank you.
2020
I might see if I could
service contract.
make a record short item here. I'm requesting authorization to bid this year's patch paving contract. It's going to be hopefully a lot less money than it was last year, although we do have a couple of fairly large items that are from the rollovers. One of them is paving of the Harvey Place Dam Road, and then paving of our south access road here, which I think each were like a couple hundred, or each were about $100,000. So that'll boost this contract, but we are expecting it to be quite a bit less just because we don't have all the existing patches we had last year. And we're going to try to also add a couple miscellaneous items to account for like minor concrete work and some of the items that I had to bring on the previous change orders. So hopefully we have less than 4 change orders next year.
Okay. Can I just ask, in these contracts, do you do like so do you handle like added work or extra work through like contingency or like the miscellaneous? I'm trying to specify most of the miscellaneous. I'm just trying to better understand the structure.
So on this past contract, we didn't have any miscellaneous or contingency type of items. In the past, prior to this year, we wouldn't bring a change order to the board unless we were getting above the total contract amount. A change I kind of made this year was if I had items that weren't a part of the bid, I was bringing it as a change order as we were going through the contract. I had talked with Kilty about doing a miscellaneous or contingency on this contract. One of the rules with that is the miscellaneous or contingency item has to be specific. So like an example of that is we're going to do a contingency item for concrete work. So whatever the concrete work is, we can negotiate it with them and we charge it to that item. There'll probably be like extra depth of asphalt. So if we get out into Pioneer Trail and there's 12 inches of asphalt instead of the typical is 4 inches, then we would have a way to pay that. And so we're going to utilize that to try to minimize change orders next year.
Yeah, because I think that's applied with a lot of our other contracting.
Yeah.
I know, I guess maybe it's not here or others, but just making sure that we apply that same philosophy to our other contracts so that we're not doing the parade of change orders.
Yeah.
Just trying to minimize that and manage it a little bit.
Yeah. And Kilty, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but my understanding is that we can't do like a contingency item that would be like 10% of the contract. It has to be specific to like specific type of, specific work. Correct? Okay.
So your $600,000 estimate here, that's just based on kind of what the known knowns kind of thing?
That's based on the budget that you're going to approve coming up here shortly. No, just kidding. That was about the cost of the paving on this project for the new holes that we made this year.
Okay, so it's just the holes, not the, you said, so we're talking about doing the south entrance?
It did not include that because those were new items I just found out about. Yeah.
Should we include those now or?
On the budget? So yeah, that would, I guess, so I guess theoretically that's going to increase available budget on this, but yeah, it will increase the budget on this. I'm not sure of the exact amount of what those rollovers were, but yeah, it'll increase it above the $600,000 that we're proposing, which was based on last year's paving for the new holes that are made.
Just to get this thing out the door and get it advertised, and is it necessary to have the actual amount, or
No, I mean, I don't think so, because this is just to advertise the bid. Once we have bids back, we're going to bring it back to award the contract. At that time, I'll include the money that was included in those rollovers.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none. Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, what would you like us to consider?
Authorize staff to advertise for construction bids for the 2026 patch paving contract.
So moved.
All right. Moving on to item 8, standing and ad hoc committees and liaison reports. We'll start with Nick.
Yeah, Shane and I had the Systems Efficiency Committee meeting on the 7th, so last week. Great news. Trevor, started the meeting with really exciting news in terms of a portion of the solar project went active before the new year, so technically started in the 2025 season. It was an incredibly long journey. I think everyone in that room was excited for the progress, as they'd been many, many years discussing to get to that point in that room. So I think that was a real achievement. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody in staff to get there, and looking forward to the update later. So that was really positive. Also, we talked about the strategic
asset management program?
That's right, strategic asset management program, and really, I think getting into kind of what that is, I think we're all familiar with it, but then kind of process going forward. And so Shane and I, went through it with staff. And really, part of the discussion was how do we want to bring this forward to the full board for discussion. And so Shane and I are going to be reviewing that in greater depth, providing comment to staff, kind of moving it forward in that context, and then look to bring that to the full board probably after the budgetary process, getting into February, March, just so we have time to think about it. And it's not a tremendous rush, but really it's, the goals, how we're going to manage the management plan. Some suggestions we had is, what are the things on that plan that are required by regulations, so we just, simply can't get around, which of those things, are our internal goals that we're looking to meet. And so, what was exciting about that is, we had been also in that committee talking about data collection, how we would utilize that to our efficiency gains and so forth. And, really what we've been seeing over the last year, I would say, and, the meeting was a great indicator of this, is the coalition of that, too long of a week, but bringing all those items together so that way, we're really using our data-driven approach to be as efficient with our time and resources possible, especially, going into budgetary seasons, and we want to keep costs down. So, again, great work by staff, and I think a lot of progress to get to that point.
Just to add and maybe help provide a bit more context. So, yeah, this is really getting at being a data-driven agency, and part of this program, which is coming to the board probably May or June-ish, is basically a policy that will kind of live as part of the board policies. So, and with that is, articulation of level of service targets in terms of what are we trying to achieve with our assets and maintaining them over time and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what's coming forward. I think we're going to have another bite at the apple in terms of reviewing the documentation that was provided. And so with that, we're trying to identify those things that are easy to measure but are meaningful to measure, and those targets that are achievable. So I guess that's it for that one. Good summary, Nick. Kelly, do you have anything?
Operations committee, that was canceled on my first
What?
one. Yeah.
You guys are already slacking.
I didn't take it personally. And then I do have, there is a successor agency, formerly redevelopment. There is a meeting on the 29th of this month, which is pretty much, they just have to meet annually, and it's about paying debts. But I will be attending that.
Okay. Is that one of our liaisons? Let me see, I have it right here. Yeah, okay. Sorry, for some reason that's blown by my, okay. Well, good. We'll learn more about that again.
Yeah. I'll report in February.
Where are they holding those now, Kelly?
It's still at the city council chambers. Yeah, I guess I've been going for like 3 or 4 years. They're all at the city council chambers.
Nothing to report with operations being canceled.
Great. And so, yeah, the only thing I've attended was the system efficiency meeting. We already went through that. Nick, do you have anything?
Kelly actually attended yesterday's El Dorado Water Agency.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was board member or the.
I appreciate you covering for me. But there's kind of a lot going on with the water agency. I've been talking about, I know I've been telling all of you about how we're trying to get a little bit more of a focus for the Tahoe side of El Dorado County, because that agency has primarily been focused on the west slope, and I think we're making some good headway. They actually discussed the scope of work that followed the, what did they call that?
Plenary
Session that was done up here in this building to talk about Tahoe issues and how the water agency could engage more in Tahoe. I think there's groundwater sustainability agency, kind of some other roles and things that we could use their assistance with. And so a scope of work was shared to kind of follow up on that and do a Tahoe blueprint that will be part of a kind of two blueprints. They'll do one on the west slope and one for Tahoe specifically. So that's huge, I think, movement for us in terms of getting more focused on our issues. And I'll talk to Paul a little bit more about what that involves and making sure that that is meeting, kind of that scope is helping advance kind of what we're looking for in the basin.
Right,
So,
and I think next week, I don't know if it's with Mark or whom, but next week the water agency is meeting about the GSA.
We are, yeah, a few of us here are meeting with.
Right, so that was on there. And then the West Slope Plenary is March 5th, I believe. And I have some notes for you.
Okay. Any other ad hoc or standing committee? No? Okay, moving on to item 9, board member reports. Nothing for me? Nothing.
So I wanted to add another liaison appointment. So I spent the holiday in Switzerland and was fortunate enough to see these guys working on some big capital project across the street from the place we were staying in the mountains. It turned out to be a huge water storage facility that was built into a mountain. It was underground. And I got to walk in it. They said, come on over. Put me in it and check. It was pretty cool. So I want to adopt this small water agency as our sister agency and do annual summits in Switzerland. So we can see if we can
like a rotating
work from the board to add that.
I'd like to volunteer for that liaison.
It can be rotating.
It can be rotating. Oh, it's not just going to be you.
No, it was pretty fascinating to see how they kind of merged their water storage into the landscape. It was actually a huge facility. I forget how large it was because they probably told it to me in liters. But it was huge, and it was pretty impressive. So,
I do want to give some. I do want to give some kudos to the Water Smart, VX Smart, whatever you want to call it, program now. Because I made a rookie mistake and left the water on for my sprinkler system and wasted 9,000 gallons in my backyard, and told the kids that Elsa showed up because the entire playground was an ice fortress the next morning. It was, I didn't even know that sprinkler zone worked, but I do now. So, yeah, kudos to that system. That was a shocking text message to wake up to the next day, but got it handled. I knew exactly what it was when I saw it. So.
Okay. Moving on to item 10A, staff and attorney reports. We have a 2025 water efficiency program review. Do you want to start with that, Paul?
Yep.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So good afternoon, board members. Lauren Benefield, Water Conservation Specialist. Today I am presenting a recap of the 2025 Water Efficiency Program services and outreach activities, and to also give some updates on the state water conservation regulations. So before going into the conservation program, I always like to start with an overview of water production for the district. This is annual, and I've also highlighted some key water efficiency regulations and also some program things that we've done here at the district. This year I switched up this graph a little bit because I thought it would be nice to show a comparison of our average water production from 1988 through 2025 versus what our water production was monthly in 2025, just so you can see just a little bit of a difference in how we have really reduced our water use. We're still seeing a tripling of water production during irrigation season, so from the end of April through October. This year I thought it was also very interesting. We obviously had a pretty dry December, and so our largest water consumer, Heavenly, had some pretty big weeks of producing snow in preparation for opening the mountain. And so you can see that spike there from November to December in the water usage.
Just to clarify, so the green line is the sheet is the 2025, and then
that's right.
The orange is the other.
Oh, I didn't include the little key. I'm sorry, everyone. The orange is that average, and then the green is just 2025.
Would you say just, as you look at from winter to summer, it is in summer landscaping changes, and winter you're attributing that more to toilets, washing machines, kind of all that good stuff?
Right. So during the winter, it is mainly indoor water usage. You're not seeing as much outdoor. However, if it is dry and we're not getting snow, then we will see a larger uptick. You can see it in December and January. It's higher than, for instance, April and March, and that's because of outdoor snowmaking from Heavenly, the ski resort.
And then your previous slide, you had kind of targeted the water meter installation. Is that 2011? Is that when we started plugging those things in?
Yeah.
2010.
Let's see. Our largest push was in 2012 with 2,500 installations of meters. But this was a multi-year project to get the installations done. And of course, this was a state of California requirement to install meters.
Can you go back to that just real quick?
Yes.
You can see, though, even though obviously, yes, we still do have the big summer push because of irrigation, but that growth from April to July on the average graph, is much larger than it is on a 2025 graph. So irrigation is definitely down.
Absolutely. And we do have, the turf buyback program, which I'll speak to. And I believe that with a non-functional turf ban that came from the state of California for commercial, industrial, and institutional customers, we might even see in future years this drop even more at the end of that regulation once it's officially, completed, phased out. Okay, so now on to the water conservation program. I want to start with the services that our water efficiency technician and Civic Spark water educator led the charge on this past summer. So our water efficiency technician, Jennifer Cressy, conducted 54 WaterWise landscape consultations. These were tailored to customer interests. We worked with the city and LTUSD and Lake Valley Fire as well. And I will add, in December, I also worked with the county to help prioritize turf conversion sites for the non-functional turf ban requirements. And so next year, I do believe that we're going to see a lot more focus on commercial customers in anticipation for the non-functional turf ban coming up. I have also communicated with Tahoe Outdoor Living as they do manage quite a few of the large landscapes for non-functional turf for commercial accounts in town, and just talking to them for the future and how we can assist them and also their customers with this conversion. I'll get more into specifics about this non-functional turf ban a little bit later as well.
Can I ask a question on this one?
Sure.
I guess so with these consultations, does that pretty much automatically result in a turf buyback, or is it just more of like, here's an opportunity, Or these are actual payments we
Yeah, so sometimes turf buybacks, folks will be interested in having a water-wise landscape consultation. So it might be a combo of a pre-site conversion visit. Jen will come out and measure the landscape of the turf that they're looking to convert, and then they're saying, hey, what do I do with this? What are some alternatives? How can I remove this turf? What are some really great plants that I can put in my landscape? But sometimes this is also customers just saying, hey, I don't know why these plants are growing. Can you come and help me figure out, is it my soil? Am I not irrigating correctly? Sometimes it's a water audit. It can also be in coordination with defensible space inspectors as well. The past couple of summers, we did have a change of our water conservation ordinance to include drip irrigation on designated days, and so helping those customers as well, like, how do I actually schedule my irrigation controller to be on designated days, or I didn't know it was running that day, can you help me fix it? Just because irrigation controllers can be a little bit confusing for customers.
So the results can be a variety of different potential actions they can take, including turf buyback.
That's right. Yep.
Do we have a sense of the magnitude of square footage that has been bought back to date?
I don't have to date with me right now. I do have this year's numbers that I can share on this slide. Readiness. You're so ready. Yeah. So one of our most popular programs is our turf buyback. You can see the comparison from last year to this year with square footage. We do have a $15,000 in turf buyback money slated for the city's conversion of non-functional turf. These locations were at the police station and at Ski Run. Ski Run was about 31,000 square feet that they converted along the median there. The past 2 summers, in addition to these numbers, we did included in these numbers is included participation from partner water agencies such as Tahoe Keys, Lakeside Park, and Lukens. We do have a grant through the IRWM from 2019, and that grant will end in December of 26.
So
Mm-hmm.
just a quick question. So we pay the turf buyback out of this IWR?
Yeah, that's a great question. So up until June 2025, we've got 2 grants that we were paying for, both IRWM grants. The IRWM from 2019, we call that one our implementation. I'm so sorry, it's confusing with the IRWM. The implementation grant is for the Lukens, Tahoe Keys, Lakeside Park. The other grant, the IRWM drought grant, was used for turf buyback and most of our other rebates, which I will get into as well on a next slide. It was grant funded. However, starting July 1st, 25, we no longer had grant funding for these projects. And so this was in the public affairs and conservation budget for it.
So we're now paying for it more directly.
Right.
And there's a regulation coming requiring municipal entities to do it and eventually commercial.
So it'll be just for commercial, that non-functional turf ban. It is not for residential customers. Just commercial, industrial, institutional.
They're still paying commercial turf buyback even though they're required to do it.
Right. So we do max out at 5,000. We are looking at how this program is going to change with the non-functional turf ban. This year we still do have money because all the 2019 previously had only been for Lukens, Lakeside Park, and Tahoe Keys. Our grants team did a wonderful job in getting some additional money added so that if we do have extra money from this grant for turf buyback, we can use it for STPUD water customers. So that should cover part of our turf buyback for this coming up summer. Yeah.
Just any future budgets related to turf buyback, the board would take action on year by year. It's not just going to be an ongoing permanent.
If we're paying for it out of our base, but not grant.
Yeah, not grant. Yeah.
I also wanted to share some analytics. Joel, you might be a part of this number for the Water Smart program. So these numbers are comparable to previous years. Throughout the year, the Water Smart portal played an important role in helping save water through automatically alerting customers to continuous use via email and gives them locations of common leaks to check at their house. Through the program, the district has 13,655 customer email addresses, which is quite impressive. And weekly, staff does pull a list of customers with leaks that do not have emails, and we do send leak letters to them to notify them of them. For large leaks over 400 gallons per hour during the winter, we do call customers to alert them of the leak. This is Monday through Friday. Really, this is to, one, obviously save water, conserve water, but also to help protect customer property. 400-gallon per hour leaks are often during the winter due to frozen and broken pipes inside the home, and that's a big claim for your insurance company if that's the case. So this is a service that we do provide, and our Civic Spark AmeriCorps Fellow really takes the charge on this during the winter months. Through June of, so I'll go into rebates and also the grants that I previously talked about. So through June 2025, all of the conservation rebates you see here were funded by the two grants that I mentioned, the IRWM Drought and the IRWM Implementation Grant. In July 2025, the only rebate funded through the grant was the leak repair rebate. This year, the clothes washer and toilet rebates were sunset starting July 1st, 2025. The leak repair rebate was very successful once again. The total amount of water used by the leaks prior to fixing was 131,307 gallons approximately. And in 2025, in addition to all of these rebates, we did add 2 new offerings for our customers. Because we sunset 2 programs, we were looking to add some more to our collection. And so this is a direct distribution program through California Water Efficiency Partnership. It offers a discount for our customers right at checkout for an automatic smart water shutoff. This is called Flow by Moen. And then we also added a commercial specific direct distribution, and this is a commercial kitchen defroster. We are waiting to hear back on participation so far, so I don't have those numbers for you right now, but hopefully our customers are interested. For Flow by Moen, a lot of insurance companies are requiring second homeowners up here in Tahoe or across the state of California to install an automatic shutoff to help protect homes from pressurized water damage.
So for those 2 programs, those are enumerated at the time of sale, so you have to wait for them to actually feed that back to you? Or
right.
And then you have, is it what's sold here in Lake Tahoe Basin or South Lake Tahoe? Or?
Yeah, so for this program specifically, we have a contract with CalWEP. CalWEP has a master services agreement for the Moen one with Moen. It includes an automatic discount, and then the district decided that because we weren't sure the use and how much customers would be interested, we are adding an additional $54 off of the purchase, and that's also at checkout. It is only for South Lake Tahoe, this program for our customers. There are other utilities across the state that could go into contract with CalWEP for direct distribution. CalWEP has other direct distribution programs as well, but these 2 we felt were strongest for our customer base. So the other half of the conservation program really does involve outreach to the community and trying to reach different customer types. So throughout the year, one of the tools we utilize is digital messaging. Through the Water Smart portal, we email customers with conservation messaging such as designated watering days, winterizing tips. We send out a new customer email as well. These are great reminders for customers who have lived in Tahoe for years and also for customers that are new to Tahoe to tell them a little bit more about what it's like living here. Social media is another effective tool for reaching our customers in a unique way. This past year, we did aim to post more Instagram Reels. Also, these get posted to Facebook. As many people, the way they're engaging online is through video content. And so I've heard some really positive things from folks in the community that have seen my face. And so we're going to continue to do so into this coming year. We attended over 18 events, 7 markets, and 11 community events. Through all of our tabling, we estimated we connected with approximately 1,500 people. I would be remiss not to mention our Civic Spark AmeriCorps Fellow, our Water Efficiency Technician, and Master Gardener volunteers who helped connect us to our customers face-to-face and really led the charge on going to these tabling events. We did continue our free gardening classes in conjunction with UC Master Gardeners. These classes were primarily held at Aspen Hollow Nursery. However, the last one in the fall, titled Putting Your Garden to Bed, was hosted at Keep Tahoe Blue in their new garden area. It was a great space and a really great turnout. We also helped to plan and execute the 2025 Tahoe Friendly Garden Tour. The Tahoe Friendly Garden Tour has not run since 2020 and was widely successful this year. People are really excited. We have over 300 attendees. We were not expecting that many people. I did have to come back to the district and print more brochures and guides for people. But that's great news. The community was very excited to get back to it. This year's theme was on defensible space, and we did have some edible food in there, some really beautiful gardens. We are going to be hosting and helping to plan another garden tour in 2026. This one will be in the Al Tahoe neighborhood. So if you know any really lovely gardens in that neighborhood, let us know. We're looking to reach out to folks.
You have some really average gardens. You
Also interested in those?
No, I was one of the early adopters of the turf buyback program because I like to mountain bike over landscaping, just as an aside. So no, but I know the neighborhood. I have a feeling of the gardens you'll be going to. Yeah.
You probably know them. You see them on your walks.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now on to a little less exciting, regulatory compliance. So in 2018, the California legislature passed SB 606 and AB 1668, requiring California top water user, urban water suppliers to have a water use budget and requires yearly reporting. Reporting is based off of fiscal year and calendar year. Fiscal year 23-24 was the first reporting year. This year was our second year reporting for 24-25. The water use budget is calculating using the 5 pillars you see on your screen. I do want to note that the indoor and outdoor standards for the water use objectives do decrease over time. I did originally include a crazy graphic with all of these changes, and I decided not to include it so you didn't feel overwhelmed. For this year, the gallons per capita per day for indoor water use did drop to 47 gallons per capita per day starting January 1st, meaning that our budget did drop. In addition to meeting the water use objective, suppliers are also required to report on a slew of other things, including categorizing all of our commercial, industrial, and institutional accounts into 21 different categories, reporting on top CII water users and BMPs we provide to these users and to help decrease their water use, identifying large landscapes over half an acre for our CII mixed use meters, and there's some more stuff in there too, but I won't list it all. To the juicy bits, you can see how we did in 2025. This was submitted in December. The left side, you will see our objective in gallons, and at the very bottom left of there is our actual water use reported, and the bottom right is that objective budget. So we did meet compliance this year successfully, which is great. We will get a report from DWR in a few months. It takes them some time to look through all the data. So what's coming up for water conservation? Mentioned it a lot this presentation, but AB 1572 was passed in October of 2023. This is a ban on irrigating non-functional turf with potable water for commercial, industrial, and institutional customers. Non-functional turf is defined as turf that is not used, and it includes located within street right-of-ways, parking lots, as well. There are some dates to note. We do have to update our water conservation ordinance by January 1st, 2027 to include all of the requirements. The ban begins 2027 for government and public agencies, with different phase-in dates for other sectors in following years. I will be back in February to give you some more detail about this with just a presentation, and also to give you a heads up on what you can expect this coming year in terms of updating our admin code. For program updates, DWR has started a working group on water efficiency standards. The standards were set in AB 1157. Shelley is in our working group, and they're looking at efficiency standard impacts on utility sewer systems, wastewater treatment plants, and also affordability for California. We are also updated our rebate program, which I mentioned, to include Moen's Smart Water Shutoff and the Commercial Kitchen Defroster. For grants, one of our IRWM grants was extended through 2026 to fund the leak repair rebate and the turf buyback for all of the water agencies here on South Shore. We also started work in January with a grant funded from Bureau of Rec to help with compliance on the urban water use objective and making sure that we have all the data and looking forward to the future for planning. Okay, this is my last one. So the Bureau of Rec project started midway through 25, and there are 4 projects associated with it. We have a California Data Collaborative Portal, which is very similar to WaterSmart, but we're just seeing what the differences are there, especially when it comes to reporting for the urban water use objectives, because they do have some more customizable reports than WaterSmart currently offers. We also have a toilet sensor pilot project for 2 of our one multifamily residential property and 1 hotel, so 200 sensors were installed. My hope is to be at the next System Efficiency Committee to present to you guys on that portal and to show you some of the analytics associated with that. It's really cool. Toilets are #1 cause of water leaks. So, and then the last one is to help with customers achieving greater efficiency and then data collection as well. Okay. That was a lot of stuff. Thank you guys so much. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question. One, I always appreciate your presentation, so thank you so much. And I think really represents kind of the great work that you and the district have been doing to the reductions. And I think my question is, as you see, kind of the trending downward usage of water, do you attribute that more to kind of people just responding to regulation, or due to your public outreach, kind of a cultural change throughout the community? And so, I have my thoughts, but I was just curious, you're kind of in the trenches every day, what you thought.
Yeah, I do really attribute it to the work that we're doing more so than regulation. Just in Tahoe, we're a little bit different than the rest of California, but I also do believe that it is fixtures as well when it comes to indoor. But for outdoor landscaping, certainly there is more of a push from our program to get folks engaged and involved with the water savings that you can see outdoors, because a lot of indoor water use we're pretty maxed out on those fixtures at the moment. So outdoor water use is probably where we're going to see water savings next, and certainly the turf buyback really helps with that because it can be quite expensive. You've done it yourself, you know that plants are expensive.
And that was my experience as well, just kind of anecdotally talking to people, seeing people go to xeriscaping and so forth. It's, master gardeners, these various different things. I never hear people tell me, the state of California is making me do this. And so I think that speaks highly again to your outreach efforts and the effectiveness of them.
Thank you.
Keep up all the tabling and presence in the community. I think that's really good. You know, I see you and your team out there at all sorts of stuff, and I think as a public agency, I think it's important to get out there and connect with the community, because that's kind of one of our primary touch points with people, and I think it goes a really long way, and it's worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll keep it up. We've already got some stuff on the calendar for 26.
So thank you for the presentation. I was hoping to see the results of the water taste test that we conducted at our 75th anniversary.
You know what? Turns out a lot of people had trouble determining what was tap water, what was bottled water. The lab did mention that our tap water did not taste like chlorine, and it's because I did fill it up earlier in the day, so the chlorine did dissipate. So it did taste quite delicious that day, if I do say so.
So it was hot at the time?
You know, I don't know. I should look.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think
Shelley has a quick legislative update she can give.
Okay.
I'm bearing good news. So last year we submitted our Park Avenue Waterline project as a federal community project request. Congressman Kiley and Senator Schiff both moved this project forward and put it on the list. And we have been waiting for Congress to approve a budget bill this year to determine if this project gets funded or not. So a reminder about the project, the Park Avenue project will upsize approximately 1,500 linear feet of 2- and 6-inch water mains to 8- to 12-inch water mains. Park Ave is right there, really close to State Line, just before State Line on your left. It will also help ensure fire code compliance by replacing 3 hydrants that have reached the end of their life. It's also an under-resourced area, will help promote public safety and reduce the risk of property damage from potential fire. So our water crew is really excited about this project being built as well. It's an area that they get called out to multiple times every summer to repair leaks, and when they dig it up, the pipe has so many Band-Aids on it, they don't know where to fix the pipe. So, and it's definitely an older part of our system, so improve fire flow, water quality, and help with operational needs. So last Thursday, the House passed their spending bill that covers the interior and the environment, 397 to 28, and it included our Park Avenue project. And an hour and a half ago, the Senate just passed their minibus approved bill, which is awesome, funding our project. So the very last step is the White House, and the White House has signaled it will be signing this into law. So this federal grant will fund $1 million for our Park Avenue project, which is really exciting. And of all of Tahoe, there are only 2 Tahoe projects on this list, and it is ours and Tahoe City Public Utility District's waterline projects as well. So this funding wouldn't be possible without the support of Congressman Kiley, who has prioritized our earmark project every year for the last 3 years, and the incredible support from Senator Schiff and Senator Padilla's office. So super excited for that funding coming in. And I have a little bit more good news. So the last handful of years, there has been language in the Lake Tahoe Restoration Act that appropriates up to $10 million for water for fire suppression infrastructure. This money flows through the Forest Service, through Region 5. And so, but the Forest Service gets to choose each year how much of this funding up to $10 million that it will actually allocate. So for the first time ever, the language this year states a definitive $2.125 million for water for fire infrastructure. We have a top-ranked project on the ranking list, so we're feeling hopeful that there will likely be another $1 million to fund a waterline project next year. And again, this wouldn't have been possible without Our champion has been Congressman Amadei of Nevada, who has really been a huge supporter of the Tahoe Water for Fire Partnership. So it's an honor to work with our state and federal representatives on district issues, and we're really lucky in Tahoe that we get to work with bi-state, bipartisan representatives to bring funding into Tahoe to support our critical projects. So that's it for me.
Great. Okay, can we move to item 11?
I actually have a quick update on Monday. We should have all received via email the GSA Form 700 from the Drug Political Practices Commission. I know I got an email from Shane saying, hey, is this legit? Should I click on this or what? So it is legit, and the deadline to file that electronically is April 1st. Just a reminder to not delay on this one because they will fine you $25 a day for not getting it done on time. They were very lenient with this last year because this is kind of a new bill that was passed January 2025 for GSAs. So this one's done electronically due April 1st. The one that I will be sending out on behalf of the district will go out in mid-February. You'll get that. That's a paper form. You'll fill that out. Original wet signature can't be done electronically. You'll turn that back into me by April 1st. And then some of you have, Shane, you've got Aqua JPIA, Nick and Kelly, you've got El Dorado Water Agency to do a separate one with. So there's a few others that are out there. I think some of those are done online.
Yeah, I did 2 of them online.
Yeah, we're not part of the online system because we are a multi-county agency. I keep our folks here at the district. So just be on the lookout for that email. Go on in. There's a link there. I can't see what's in that information, so if you have questions, you need to contact them directly. But Paul filled it out already, his form, and said that it was a little bit simpler than last year. There was a toggle question that wasn't there this year, so hopefully it's pretty straightforward.
You'll fill out the digital ones, but also we're going to do what?
Yes, and that'll go out mid-February. You'll see that come from me. Yep.
The one for the GSA, I mean, obviously we only do this once a year, and so the first thing it asks you, of course, is put in your username and password. And so, I mean, if you guys can remember your password from a year ago, you're better than me. But they of course just have the forgot your password button that you can just click on there and get back in.
Now can we move to agenda item 11?
Yes, and I just have one quick thing today. And I just wanted to announce that a week from tomorrow, January 23rd, Scott Blaze's Celebration of Life is going to be held at the Carson Valley Inn in the Douglas Banquet Room. And it says the doors will open at noon and the services will begin 1 to 1:30 p.m. I know several of us are planning to attend. We'll carpool as much as we can, and obviously everybody can't go because we have to keep the district operating. But as many of us as possible are planning to get down there.
All right. Okay, moving on to item 12, notice of past and future meetings. You can see that there. I guess we're going to adjourn the meeting and move into closed session. Yeah. Very short. Very short. Okay. Taking out a closed session, nothing to report. Meeting adjourned.